We are rolling.
Welcome to a special Facebook Live brief preview segment of our Windows on America webcast tomorrow. I'm Brian Schaitkin. I'm a senior economist with the Conference Board, and joining me is Diane Lim, who is a principal economist with the Conference Board. And we just wanted to provide a very brief reaction to the events of last night. So as you know by this point, in a historic and unexpected result, Donald Trump became the 45th president-elect of the United States, defeating Hillary Clinton by what is apparently a 306 to 232 electoral vote margin. Now, Diane, you're a native Michigander, and one of the states that initially sort of signaled that we might be in for a surprising evening was the state of Michigan. So what's your initial reaction to the vote in Michigan, and what do you think it says about the state of the economy in Michigan and, more broadly speaking, the industrial Midwest?
I think we're learning this morning that a lot of the explanation for the vote, the tremendous under prediction of the vote that Trump was going to get, is due to the fact that apparently many more women voted for Trump than was expected. And I think, that could be explained by maybe there were a lot of people who actually supported Trump's ideas who were not as vocal about it, including perhaps with the pollsters, and then they really felt. I think Trump's message in terms of resonating with the broad American public has to do with the disconnect between how the economy's doing from an aggregate perspective and from a headline level versus how the economy seems to be serving ordinary Americans. And so I think that when people are experiencing something that is not as great as what the news is telling them they should be feeling, I think that Trump's message actually resonated with them, and that they were also unwilling to kind of reveal that to pollsters, to friends, to family before the election. And so I think it is a reflection of the fact that our economy has experienced increasing inequality, that a lot of Americans feel like government hasn't done enough for them in terms of helping them in their own economic situations, and that the DC establishment or the elite don't understand their economic situation. So I think this is something we're going to be learning more about, is this phenomenon of Trump winning the election and what it meant, what it means in terms of how Americans are feeling, and in terms of what kind of economic policies we'll be able to pursue going forward to hopefully better address those concerns.
And I think that learning is a lot of the purpose of our webcast tomorrow, because while I think Diane is indisputably correct that there was clearly a message sent last night for some sort of change on the basis that not enough has been done to resolve inequality in certain respects, it's unclear, given that Donald Trump has never held political office in his life, and also that the campaign itself did not really force him to take strong, clear policy stands and sort of lay out what his first 100 days will ultimately look like. I think what we're going to be discussing is what are some possible issues he could act on immediately. I think taxes is probably foremost among them, simply because for no other reason that cutting taxes is broadly popular with Republicans, and he did depart from Republican orthodoxy on many other issues such as trade and immigration. So the question we're going to be asking is, why is it that first of all, the strong downward market reaction that many feared has not to this point come to pass. What are the key benchmarks to look for in terms of trying to understand and bring some certainty to the agenda Donald Trump will implement? And what is it going to mean for our country going forward? So, Diane, what do you think? What do you think business leaders and members of the general public, what should they be looking for over the next 2 weeks as guideposts in terms of what President Trump might do to address some of the issues that you brought up during your description of what happened in Michigan?
Well, I think that one thing that's probably going to happen fairly quickly is that Trump will clarify who are the experts, advisors who are going to be on his team, both his economic policy team and his foreign policy team. I don't think he's talked that much about it, and we haven't seen that big of a group of advisors surrounding him during the campaign. So now that he's been elected to become the next president, I think that will help the market, that will help the business community be a little bit more at ease if there's a little bit more understanding about what his support team is going to look like. Hopefully a little bit more of a clue as to the policy priorities that he's going to have heading into the White House, because I think until now during the campaign there hasn't been a huge amount of discussion of policy substance.
Absolutely. And I think one thing to keep in mind as we analyze such an unexpected event is that we had this experience earlier this year of an event that no one expected to come to pass, and that did, which was Brexit, and that had incredible immediate effects on the market. So far, we're still trying to figure out, even 4 or 5 months later, exactly what Brexit is going to mean for the UK economy. But there are two critical differences that I'm going to leave you with that you should think about as you listen to the webcast tomorrow, which are, number one, whereas the impact of Brexit has largely been confined to the British economy, the United States is, of course, the world's largest economy with the world's most powerful military. So the implications of whatever President Trump does will be profound. And then second, because of the results of the elections for Congress, President Trump will have a lot of leeway to implement whatever policies he chooses to implement on healthcare, on budget and taxes, on trade, immigration, everything across the board. And traditionally, we've seen that in the first 100 days, a president's legacy can often be shaped in very critical and profound ways. That's when President Obama passed his stimulus bill. That's when presidents have their greatest period of authority to implement an agenda. So I think watching over the next 2 weeks, seeing what cabinet officials President Trump will end up appointing, and also what issues and policies he describes and what type of tone and rhetoric he adopts will be very, very critical in terms of assessing the economic and business implications of what lies ahead. And with that, please join us tomorrow, 9 a.m. for Windows on America. You'll hear 6 experts from the conference board discussing what to expect and what to look out for over the next 2 weeks in more detail. We look forward to seeing you then.